Hello. What's up, everybody? You're watching live. It's Tuesday night. John Marks on YouTube. X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram. What's up, everybody? If you're watching later, you've subscribed or you checked out the channel at John Marks Media. Subscribe, follow on Instagram. At John Marks Media, JONMARKS Media. What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday night. Well, I was waiting for this to come out regarding the Eagles. And if you've listened to me, and really, so when my last day on WIP was December 20th. So where was that in the grand scheme of the Eagles season? Let me see. Eagles schedule. It was like in the middle of the skid, or it was like towards the tail end of the skid. Let's see. It's after they lost to Seattle. So it was before they beat the Giants and then lost to the Cardinals. And then lost to the Giants. I remember saying, and then it was really after that as well, that you don't go from being 10-1 and being the best team in the NFL. And believe me, I get it. They were fortunate to win some of those games, but it's not like they were just beating tomato cans. They were beating good teams. They beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. They beat the Bills, who just started getting hot at that moment in a back and forth game. I mean, this narrative that I see a little bit out there right now, that it's like, oh, well, no, they beat the Bills. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Cowboys. They were fortunate to win that game. They beat the Dolphins pretty handily, right? So, they were winning real games. And they were finding ways to win games. And then the Niners just kicked the shit out of them, and they never recovered from that. But I remember saying in the middle of that, and then especially towards the end, you don't go from 10-1 and the best team in football. And it wasn't fluky. I don't believe it was fluky. Were they fortunate to win some games? Of course they were. But good teams find ways to win games. But you don't go to shit like that unless there's something majorly wrong off of the field, in the locker room, more than X's and O's. This was something that was internal. And I don't know or didn't know or don't know exactly what that means. Was it the coach and the team? Was it the coach and the quarterback? Was it the quarterback and the wide receiver? Was it, Jalen's this great competitor and, oh, look how serious he is out there. And then you start losing games and then everybody starts looking at you and saying like, hey, how come he's not talking to us? Hey, how come he's not trying to rally us on the sidelines? When you're winning games, it's cool. When you're losing games, he's an asshole, right? But I did hear this, and we'll play what Craig Carton said on FS1 this morning. I did say this, and this is something that I've heard really since, remember the incident where Jalen was getting yelled at by AJ on the sideline? What game was that? Do you remember Delco Steve, what game that was? That he was yelling at him. The Eagles were winning the game, but it was the Minnesota. Was it Minnesota? Did they play Minnesota this year? All I know is that that the offense started to stall and AJ got pissed on the sideline. And from there, I don't know what started it. I don't know if there's off the field stuff going on like Craig Carton is implying here. But I had heard from, and I'm not a reporter, but I had heard from, I'm not even going to say a very reliable source. I'm just going to say somebody that is as reliable as any source that could possibly be in my life, that is as plugged in internally as anybody else, that I trust enough to even say this, is that the relationship between Jalen and AJ was not okay during the season. And I didn't know, and I don't know if that was because of the bitching and complaining about that on the field or what. I really didn't know. I just knew, I was told, quote, their relationship is not okay. So, and then they struggled. The team struggled. The team looked like a team that was broken. And I believe it was on the field and off the field. On the field, I think just guys had already been like, let's just get the season over with. We're not winning anything. And it hasn't leaked out. Craig Carton said, if we can pull this up there, Steve Gallo, here's Craig Carton speaking very loosely, not giving really any details at all other than kind of just throwing this wild thing out there. So here's Craig Carton, and the audio is this is Kevin Kincaid put this on Crossing Broad, but the audio is not great, but I think you can still hear it. So here's Craig Carton from FS1 this morning.
I don't know. And that's because the biggest question facing the Eagles is what do you know about what happened? Yeah, that season. I can tell you that it is a problem that would splinter any group of men. Any group of men. It is a real significant problem. Yeah, I know it cannot be fixed. I will tell you that. It's like three things. Money, we the live. No, women. Oh, so, I'm not going to say any more than that, but I know what the problem was. I know they're trying to fix it, and I don't think it can be fixed. So it would be very interesting to see if a high-profile player is no longer with the Eagles going into this season. And by the way, maybe he will be, but I'll be interested to see if he is. All right? Will you tell us as we go along? I'll tell you. Crumbs for us to I'll give you a couple crumbs. Okay. Yeah, sure.
So I believe something else will come out here with exactly what he's talking about, but I tend to, and just for the record, I listen to Craig when he's on WIP. I know Craig got fired from WIP for a report that Eric Lindros was hungover and was suspended by the team because he showed up for a game hungover. They said, no, you're not playing. He was fired from WIP because Ed Snyder sued WIP for it. Later on, a few years later, it came out that he actually was hungover and Craig wasn't full of shit. So I react to Craig. I don't know the details that he's talking about, and he makes it a little bit more salacious than I was thinking it would be. But, like, aren't we kind of like, duh, with this? Does anybody really not believe that there was something internally broken with the Eagles this year? Did we really, like, was this really X's and O's, and they just, all of a sudden, they were figured out by the league? That's not what I saw. I saw a team that stopped being a team. I saw a team that clearly, especially offensively, lacked chemistry. I didn't see, and here's what I'll say, because I saw Corey put this up here. Give me one instance where Jalen and AJ were, and you brought up the second Washington game, but when AJ defended Jalen down the stretch at all, right? Remember when Jalen played that game and he was sick? And AJ was asked about it afterwards. I was trying to find the sound right before we went on the air. But he said something to the effect of, nobody gives a shit about that. And, like, it was one of these things where he could have just said nothing at all. Nobody cares that Jalen Hurts is sick. And he could have went, hey, once you get out on the field, like you can't worry about being sick, and that's what Jalen did today, and blah 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 blah. But really, he just he didn't have his back at all. He didn't have Jalen Hurts' back. The offense was struggling, and I didn't see any type of. They're supposed to be best friends. They're supposed to be best friends, and in a period of Jalen's career in this season, we're talking about the biggest collapse in Eagles history. And you saw no reason to believe that Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown were close, that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts were on the same page with anything. No reason. Find me the clip. Twitter, Instagram, find me the clip in the last, we'll just say this last 6-7 weeks of the season, where Jalen spoke of AJ, AJ spoke of Jalen. Specifically, AJ spoke of Jalen. Right? So again, I'll just say it again, that if you don't think that there is something internally wrong with this team, then I'm not sure what you were watching. I'm not saying it's Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown because I don't know that. What I do know is that I had heard that their relationship wasn't okay, and I didn't have details on that. But that was more than X's and O's. That was the team that didn't like each other. That was the team that was on different pages. That was the team that was cliquey. I'm telling you, when Jalen Hurts is sitting by himself on the sideline and he's not talking to anybody and they're losing games, those guys are talking about him. Even if it's not in a super bitchy way, people are now asking questions. Well, how come he's not talking to us? Like, why is he always so serious? Like, that's I think valid criticism of Jalen Hurts is like, hey, listen, you're the quarterback, you're the leader. You got to be better with that. And he's still a young player in the NFL, so like whatever. Like, I'm not gonna kill him for it, but it's real, right? As we bring Delco Steve in, my producer, who, you got your IG up there now. Oh, look at that,
Yeah, buddy.
33. Now, Delco Steve would be a guy that would be, Craig Carton's full of shit. This is bullshit. They're perfectly fine. Again, I don't know what you were watching if you think that everything's fine in that. And I'll talk about offensively, but I think you're crazy if you think that there wasn't something that was broken on that team this year. So, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, so you brought up the first time AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts got into it. I didn't realize that was week 2. That was week 2 Thursday night against the
I didn't either. I saw that up there too.
So if you think about it, like they were winning then, the first week was iffy against the Patriots. The second game, they kind of blew the doors off the Vikings until the Vikings came back. So, like, how do we get from you have a great start in that game, everything's popping off, to them fighting on the sidelines just because he didn't get the ball the way he wanted it to? I don't know. It's weird. And then, obviously, he has the stretch where he goes nuclear shortly thereafter that.
Right. When guys stop getting targets and start putting up the big, he was on pace to have 2,000 yards almost. It was him and Tyreek Hill that were going back and forth for the yardage lead, and he still had a really, really good season. But second half wasn't as good as the first half, which happens, right? Like, defenses are going to say, hey, we're not going to let him beat us, so we're going to double him or whatever. But like Josh Stafford says right here about Craig, like, I'm not saying that putting that out there, and you'd agree if you saw the video, listen to the audio, that he was more or less implying that it was something that was salacious, right? When you say that it's something that he doesn't think can be repaired, and you have to play it again so we can hear it again. But I mean, it doesn't mean that there wasn't something that was going on. So you could say that Craig stirring the pot doesn't know anything. I disagree. There's enough people that are close to the situation that know something, but they're not going to come out and say that. That's Craig's MO, to come out and say that. He's not a reporter. So he's not reporting something. He's stirring the pot. And we're talking about it, and a lot of people are talking about it. But so let's hear it one more time. Here's Craig Carton on FS1 on the show.
For the last 2 months of this past season, then the Eagles aren't even top 5.
But how much do you blame on the OC?
I don't know. And that's because the biggest question facing the Eagles is, what do you know about what happened? Yeah, that season. How won't you tell? I can tell you that it is a problem that would splinter any group of men.
A problem that would splinter any group of men implies what? There's a woman involved. It's some type of domestic, or there's a woman involved. Right?
It's like a Scott Hartnell, Jeff Carter situation.
Dude, I'm not even going there. Let's hear more from Craig.
It is a real significant problem.
Yeah, I know
it cannot be fixed. I'll tell you that.
It's like 3 things. Money, we the live.
And it cannot be fixed. So the implications, and we can speculate, and maybe it's irresponsible for him to say that, but when the evidence is also showing you that there was something going on with this team. So here's where I go now, without knowing the details. And again, I promise you, someone's going to put something out there. So I think something's going to come out that's going to give you a little bit more than what Craig's doing right here. How do you fix it? If there's something that's internal, who disagrees that there was something internal, by the way? Do you think there was internal issues going on? Like, my question was, did these guys just look at Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson at the end of the season and say, the fuck are these guys? They know what the fuck they're doing, right? And they've totally lost confidence in the coaches. Because remember, AJ came out and said, "We got it." So all right, check this out, and we can get rid of Craig there. So check this out. Who was it that came out and supported the coaches? And nobody was talking about no one believes in the coaches, right? AJ came out and said, there was a team meeting or whatever, and he came out publicly and said, we have to believe in our coaches. We have to have belief in our coaches. What was the story that came out about Jalen Hurts after the season? That he didn't believe in the coaches, that he didn't believe in Nick Sirianni. So A.J. Brown comes out and says, oh, we got to believe in our coaches. And then a story comes out right after the season that says Jalen Hurts didn't believe in the coaches. Again,
So we're
that's
saying AJ
that's
bought
A.J.
in
and Jalen.
So we're saying AJ was buying in and Hurts wasn't doing what the coaching staff was designated for him to get the ball.
I'm telling you that AJ and Jalen Hurts are on different sides. I'm telling you that they are on different sides in that locker room, which is a problem.
So do you think it's just strictly sports? Do you think it's just strictly
I don't
locker room,
know.
the game?
I don't know.
If you had to put your best guess on it.
I think it has more to do. I mean, I just thought it was a personality thing. Jalen seems like a guy who has a low tolerance for bullshit. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And when you have a wide receiver that has a lot of bullshit to him, I just thought because they were best friends that he would be able to work that out. I also remember Donovan and T.O. were buddies because T.O. wanted to come to the Eagles because he wanted to play with Donovan because he knew him from the Pro Bowl. And then Donovan became very, very, very quickly tired of T.O.'s bullshit, even though they were so good, right? So maybe that played in the part of it again. I'm not implying there's any type of salacious thing that's going on here because I don't know that, and that would be bullshit. But there was something that's going on, and there's something that's going on between the wide receiver and the quarterback, in my opinion. In my opinion. I don't think this is just X's and O's. So, there you go. All right, so people are, so just so everybody knows, see, now people are saying your audio sucks.
I turned it up a little bit. I thought maybe if I turned it down a little bit, we wouldn't get any crackling, so I turned it up a bit.
So just so you guys know, we've received some comments about he was a little bit too high, like he was his audio was a little bit high and it was chirping, and so he's got a microphone that's arriving tomorrow. So just make it through tonight.
Thank you, John.
All right. Well, let's see. Here it is. He said it's not football related. No, I don't disagree, but I'm also not going to come out and speculate. All right, so it wasn't football related. Was there something going on like with a woman, or I just don't know where to go from there if it's not football related. That's what I say. Could this just be a personality thing? Right?
I don't understand how he goes that deep into it and not tell. Like, how does he put that out there and not give it out?
It's Craig Carton.
I would think you would stay mum if you're not going to actually say what it is.
Nope. No, he puts it out there like he did.
Or if it's like a teaser, like, oh, come back tomorrow, come watch the show tomorrow.
Right.
Okay. At least that makes sense.
And I mean, maybe like I've heard that maybe it was like a member of the defense and something with Jalen Hurts, and could Slay have been a guy that sure. And like Slay's a bad teammate. It's time for Darius Slay to be out of here. The fact he had a captain on his uniform, I'm tired of Slay. He's a good player. He had a good couple years here. See ya.
I can't believe they reworked his contract last offseason. I can't.
Yep. Hugh said midday show today that Carton isn't lying. I'm telling you, and I'll just repeat myself. Hugh's closer to the situation than anybody out there that's watching. Anybody. All right? Former Eagle. Now around 24/7. And I'll just say it again. That somebody that is on the inside that's close to the situation, I had heard this long before we realized that this was really a problem. When things seemed okay, I was being told that things weren't okay. Just going to say that. So, this is a big deal. This is a big deal because you can bring in Kellen Moore. You can bring in, now if you're winning and you're scoring touchdowns, everybody's happy. Maybe you can if there's personal things that are going on. Yeah.
Sweeping stuff under the rug.
But the minute things went wrong this year, what happened? They fucking collapsed. It's telling. Well, there you go. And the story with Craig Carton again, and Eric Lindros being hung over and he got fired from WIP. Telling you, he wasn't making that up either. So I was trying to find the. I think he put it in his book, and somebody else had it out there that Snyder admitted that Lindros actually was hungover. So, it wouldn't surprise me if we had a blockbuster article coming out about everything internally that was going on. All you need is a player, and no one's going to come out on the record, but a player or two comes out and says, "Yeah, that's kind of what happened this year." I'll be really, really curious to see how this plays out.
I think that will come out who and when somebody leaves a free agency, and then they start talking when they're not back with the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think we'll get some insight at that point in time.
Well, listen, we'll have to. Something tells me we're gonna be talking a lot about this subject over the course of the season. Again, they were best friends. Did they seem like they were best friends the last half of the season? Did they ever talk about each other? Did you ever see them together? Did you ever see them?
Only when they were screaming at each other.
Right. So clearly something that was going on in there. So it's something we're going to have to follow. Hey, Herb's coming up here in a second. Herb from Northeast Philly. And he texted me today and he said, "Did you hear me?" And I said, "Hear you what?" And I'm kind of a dick because I know what he's saying. Like, did you hear me on the air? So he's like, "Did you hear me?" 2. He said, "WIP twice today." And I said, "I'm sure it was dynamite." So then he called me and I was busy. And I called him back when I was going to pick up my kids at school. And so I got the whole Herb talk, which was awesome. So I'm like, just stop. All right. Like, you want to come on tonight and talk about it? You come on where? And I'm like, all right, dude. He's been on the show twice, right?
I was going to say, act like he hasn't been here before.
Yep. So then he's thinking I'm back on WIP or something. Not on WIP, Herb. Right here, you can see my living room. So Corey, did they play Herb and Sonny Hill on the radio? Or did you just hear it? Because they told me that Herb told me he called Sonny Hill, and I'm like, oh, I gotta hear what that sounds like. So I finally found it. So Herb, so this is like I don't know, how long is this into the
I don't know, it was a bit long.
Yeah, so like he's 5 minutes in and they've covered a lot of ground. And Herb starts asking for Magic Johnson's contact info because he was just in town. And then Sonny's like, "Do I know Magic Johnson? I raised Magic Johnson." He can't just say he knew Magic Johnson. He not only knew him, he raised him. "I raised Magic Johnson. Johnny Sample." I used to listen to the living room back in the day, and I love Sonny. By the way, Sonny Hill, every child that I had, because they put out the company email, well, the 2 that when I worked at WIP, sent me a very thoughtful email congratulating me and everything else. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's really, really nice. I really appreciated it. So Sonny's awesome. So we're going to pick it up with Herb. And this is where Sonny starts, I think he starts getting upset here. Let me see.
I feel like he got upset for no reason.
Well, he could, because Herb was trying to upstage him. Here it is.
He was in North Philly somewhere this past week. Had I known, I would have went to the event, but I didn't know. I find out after the event, the next day. But I'm trying to get a hold of Magic. It's hard, you know.
So Herb, you thought you would give me a call,
yeah,
and have this discussion. But let me respond to in this way. I've known Magic Johnson before he was Magic Johnson.
Right.
Magic and I have a personal relationship.
All right, so hold on. Now,
Herb.
So then Herb starts going on, and then out of nowhere he brings up his book, and that's where Sonny loses.
With local
on WIP, I'm one of the top callers, okay, in the afternoon, during the week. Ike Reese and everybody knows.
Wrap it up. What does that have to do with our conversation?
The name of the book is going to be called Herb.
Herb. What does that have to do with our conversation?
I wanted to see if you remembered about, Finley Playground, the suburban cars.
Yes, I grew up.
Right,
in all those areas. I played baseball.
I was in LA.
All right, well, there you go. So he wanted to talk about his book. And Sonny didn't appreciate that it came out of nowhere. Herb actually joins us right now because Herb had a lot to say in our phone call today. Herb, how are you, buddy? What's going on? I'm going to unmute you, Herb.
I'm good, Johnny Marks.
So
what's up, Herb?
So how did it end with Sonny? I didn't hear the end of the.
Listen, last week I got up, I had Comcast on, and they showed the girl was showing Magic Johnson went to this someplace in the North Philly, and he's working for Glaxo Smith Kline, GSK,
Right.
and they have the the needle to get
Steroids?
no the to if you to prevent you from the RSV. They have the vaccine. They're making the vaccine.
Pneumococcal pneumonia.
So
Oh.
he's working. Yeah, Magic is like doing the
So what you were
marketing.
what were you
Yep.
what you were saying, Herb? I'm just gonna mute. But what you were saying, Herb, was that you were trying to get a hold of Magic. Now, what exactly were you looking for from
Wanted to
Magic?
let him know that I had that I what I went through in December. I was in the hospital. I had the virus,
Right.
the ammonia
You were in bad
in
shape.
my
You were in
lungs. I
bad shape.
was in bad shape, and after 3 weeks, I pulled through, and I'm back to working. But I just missed getting the vaccine by a couple days.
So you just wanted to
So
share your personal your
personal
personal
right
experience with
right
Magic.
with
All right.
Magic because he's working with GSK. So
Well, Sonny knew Magic
But
before he was
anyway.
Magic
Oh,
when he
I
was a
know that.
kid.
I know that. I know that.
So
'Cause
did
Sonny,
did he did
I
Sonny
know
did Sonny
Sonny
off
from
the
the.
air call you back and say, Herb, here's his number. Give him a
No,
call.
he didn't do anything like that because he had
Oh.
other callers that were
Oh,
calling
okay.
up.
All
And
right.
then today, one guy talked about one of the guys, I think it was about 150, 145 with Giulio before they went off. And I heard a guy talking about me and Sonny Hill and this
Herb,
and
are you
that.
okay? Are you having a convulsion there or what?
No, I'm fine, brother.
Well,
I'm fine.
hold the phone. People are
He's
getting
talking with his hands.
yeah, they're getting sick. They're getting motion sick. You're waving the phone all over the place. I thought you were having a seizure or something.
No, I'm fine. I'm
All right.
watching UConn and Creighton's blowing them out 41-29. It was
Oh.
7-0 UConn when
Can you give us a
when
play-by-play while we're on here?
it's amazing, man. They're up by
So anyway, if you
12
would,
points.
so you couldn't get Magic's number, so that's
Yeah,
we can
that's all right. I mean,
Delco Steve can work on it for you.
yeah, he could probably get something
Yeah.
through
Get right on
the
that.
Commanders. The Commanders, you know what I mean? So
So Herb,
anyway,
you heard what we were talking about on the
yeah.
in the first minutes of the show. Do you believe
I
there's
told
internal
you I
trouble
know.
with the Eagles?
Yeah, there seems like something. They were 10-1. Things looked like they were going good, and all of a sudden, uh, they're losing one game after two, now three, now 4 or 5. And it seems like at sometimes during different games that AJ Brown was upset at he had a
Yes.
record that was going, and then all of a sudden it like stopped. You know what I mean? There was something
Mm-hmm.
going on where they weren't getting him the ball, and other guys were getting the ball. Then you had the issue with the tight end getting hurt, where he lost four. There was 4 games and he was out for a month.
All right.
And
We don't need a recap of the season, Herb. So
yeah,
by the end of the season, as we sit here right now, you do think that there was some internal stuff that was going on.
There could have been, they're short there. It sounds like what's been some guy got on today from on Ike's show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Ike's show. I know there was a guy that got on and said it might have been Jolio's. It was, and this guy
I know, Herb.
said that he was at the lunch, something that was going on with the Eagles, but he couldn't say anything. But there was definitely something that was going on.
I think a lot of
And
people
this guy
that
was
cover
on.
the team know that there was
can't
something that was going on.
remember the guy's name or who it was, but either Julio had the guy or Ike Reese show.
All
I
right.
can't remember. I think it was. I think it might have been Julio's show.
All right. Well, Herb, listen. People are asking about.
Yeah.
So people are asking about in Philadelphia what's going on with Bryce Harper, but how
Right.
tight is your strike zone? We know that you were a locally
Yeah,
famous
I
umpire.
told you,
Tight strike zone.
tight strike zone. I told you the ball has to cover the plate. It's from the knees, 2 inches above the knees, 2 inches below the numbers on the uniform. That's the strike zone.
So give me a called strike one. What would you do? Like a ha!
Okay, if he
Called strike one. So it's a 0 count and it's a fastball.
strike one,
So strike
strike
two.
two. Now,
All right. Now let me give you let me hang on, Herb. Let me give you the play by play and then you be the umpire, okay?
okay.
It's count is full. Noah from the stretch. The 3-2 pitch. And it's going to be a strike. Called strike three. The 3-2 pitch.
strike
Strike three. Struck him out.
Yeah, and I go like this. You see that?
No.
He don't swing. It's a called strike, strike three.
But you punch him out like, huh!
If he swings at it, John, you just put your arm up. It is a strike,
Right.
and
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying called strikes. I know that everybody knows if it's a swinging strike.
But if he doesn't swing and you call it a strike three, that's when you come out with the hammer, with the arm.
So you give him the hammer the other way. So if it's a left-handed, you don't go towards him. You go the other way.
Yeah, it all depends. You know what I mean?
All right.
The Harper thing, I talked about it today.
Yeah. So would you give him a
Do you have the
contract
inside
extension?
info?
He's got 8 years left on his
I
contract. Would
want
you
to
extend him?
see, Mike. It seems like something's going on with Mike Trout and Bryce Harper. Mike Trout, okay, supposedly every year he has a meeting with the Angels before they go to camp. About he's got a no trade clause in his contract. He's the one that has to agree to it being traded.
Right.
He has
All he has to do is Herb. Here's what would need to happen. Mike Trout would need to go to the Angels and say, "I think I want to be traded," and they would try to trade him.
Right.
They would do him the courtesy, and he's not doing that right now. I don't believe this has anything. I don't think this has anything to do with Mike Trout. I think Bryce Harper wants more guaranteed money, and his this is the time to do it based on his play. The owner just said that he was underpaid last offseason.
Yeah,
so he's going to try to get another $100 million. Good for him.
No, 25. He's trying to get some more money because Mike Trout was 430 or 40 for whatever it is. He's somewhere like 120, 130 million under what Trout got. He's under.
So would you extend Harper right now? Would you say, all right, let's give you 4 more years?
I would wait. I see Dombrowski. Dombrowski's a smart dude, man. You could tell just by looking at him if he's happy with somebody or if he's looking to try to do something or whatever.
I think Harper's going to get like another 120.
Okay.
This spring training.
I'd be surprised that they give him something this year. I think they want to see this team win. They want to win the World Series. That's what they all know. They got to win the World Series. It's got to happen either 24 this year or next year. And I mean, with all these investments that they got, this team and with these players, this team should be able to win 2 out of the next 3 World Series. Really, I'd be honest.
They should make the playoffs. John Middleton said that they made a run at the Japanese pitcher as well, so they realized they needed another starting pitcher. I think they're a little bit short this year in the starters.
Yeah, I think they're short. I mean,
they're a playoff team, and they can still make trades at the trade deadline. So we'll see what happens. They
got to come out They got to come out in April. They got to come out hot. You can't play 500 ball. You got to be,
10 games over, like 20 and 10 to start. I agree.
You got to win 16, 17 games. You got to try to defer in April, and each month. I told you 18 times 6, because you're playing 6 months. That's 108 games.
No.
If the Phillies win between 95 and 100, can they win the division? I think this team really,
Be close.
okay, needs to win the division this year, even though you can talk all you want about Atlanta. The Phillies beat up Atlanta the last 2 years in the playoffs. So it really doesn't make, like, it is what it is. I mean, it's
That's what it is.
Atlanta, Phillies, New
Well, Herb,
York,
listen.
Washington. That's your division teams.
You
In
actually
Miami.
do. You're the most coherent on your points when it comes to the Phillies. So we'll have to have you back on to break that down. But a lot of people having a lot of questions for you because when you call in the WIP, as you told Sonny,
Yeah.
you're easily the best caller on the station in the afternoons. But
Yeah.
people always want to know more about you. Like Tim wants to know. You had the bubbling brown sugar there for a little while. You had
I
the
gave
friend that I
her
saw a
up.
picture with you. You did?
Yeah, I don't bother with her no more.
No.
Nah, But
All right.
she's out there, but I don't need that. I don't need that problem.
No.
You know.
And so Corey wants to know any women in the fold? You working?
Well, I saw my friend about a week ago. She's 75, okay? I known her from like 1975, 76.
Mm-hmm.
This girl Elaine Pankowitz, she's a good friend of mine. We were supposed to get together and she decided no. I was playing with her girlfriend across the street from her house and she caught me one day, you know what I mean? So that broke that deal up. But we went to Orlando a few times. We went on a few trips, But
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
Just as friends or as
2
more?
weeks ago, she calls me at it. I haven't heard from her ass for 10 years. I haven't heard
She
from
called
her.
you?
She lives in West Trenton. She's got a beautiful, beautiful house. She
Oh.
had a guy that was working with her for a long time in this company called Best Manufacturing. And they went out of business. And then he got in the real estate business after he got all his money from the company before they went bankrupt. So
But Herb,
now
people don't
he
care
just
about
moved
that.
to
But
Florida. He
people don't
moved.
care about that. Well, they want to know if
Yeah,
you've had relations with her.
yeah, I had relations with this girl. You know what I mean?
Really?
Matter of fact, Sunday we might go. I'm trying to get the Sixers to give me some tickets. Like discounted tickets for the game on Sunday because I'm off.
So Herb, tell us about the you were Steve. I don't know if you know this.
So
Delco
she
Steve.
might go.
Right through it. So Herb, the love interest that you once had that lived in Europe, and I think we broke it to you that she was dead, but you couldn't remember her
What do you
name
mean?
either. So that's why there was you
In
knew some
Europe?
actress. You knew some actress
Oh
from
yeah,
Los
that's
Angeles.
Gina Lollobrigida. Yeah, she was beautiful. Yeah, Gina was a hot looking woman. Even
What was her last name now?
Gina Lollobrigida. She's from Hollywood, dude.
No,
She
I
had a
know.
house in New York on the east side, man. She got people
And
all over
but
there.
we broke it to you that she was dead because you were talking
Yeah,
about
I know.
how
I didn't know. I
I
didn't.
know.
She passed away like last.
But
I think last
you had told us on the air that you were banging some 90-year-old and it was her.
She invited me to her house, Johnny,
I know.
in Italy. She lived right outside of Rome. So my friend Amato, Amato
What's the
Biardi,
old Herb? What's the
chairman-
oldest you'll go as far as when you're looking for a date? What's the oldest you'll go? 80?
right now? Nah, I don't want that unless it's some of these 80s look like 50.
Well, 80's the new 70, right?
I'm looking for somebody right now, maybe like 40, 45, maybe 50, you know what I mean? There's one girl
40.
that I like that I known a long time. Her father just passed away. We used to have the team together in the Pendel League, the Somerton All Stars. This girl Gina Smith, and Gina's divorced, but I'm trying to get to her to but she's got a guy. She's either living with some guy or she's close.
So
with
she's
this
divorced,
guy.
but already moved in with another man,
Yeah, she's
and you're
got
trying to
some-
get involved.
Yeah, I'm trying. I know her whole family. I know her mother. I know her sisters, and I know her brother. So
Good for you.
But
All right. Well, listen, Herb, I'm ready, and I think Delco Steve's also behind the Get Herb Laid. Get the
yeah,
hashtag going,
Let's
Delco
go.
Steve. We could do Love Connection. Did you watch Love Connection in the '80s with Chuck Woolery?
whatever you want, brother.
Remember that
Whatever
back in
you
Two
want
and
to do.
Two? Did you watch
So you
those?
didn't
Did you
even
watch
ask
those,
me
Herb?
about Harper. You didn't even ask me about.
I did. You just
So
didn't answer
I
it.
said I want to see him win the World Series. I want to see him. I think he
Herb,
can hit. I think he can hit. Okay, in the next 4 years, 200 home runs. Okay.
so Herb was laying
Obviously,
this.
if
Herb was
he
laying this
plays,
out to me,
listen,
Steve. That
if
he
he
was saying that if for the next 12 years he averages 35 home runs, he'll hit like 800 or 900 home runs. I told him it may be tough to average that many home runs over those years. But Herb, to your point, he's
in
going to
that
play another 10 years, and
ballpark,
he's
the
going to hit
ball
600 home
flies.
runs.
If he stays healthy, this guy is going to do it. He's going to break Mike Schmidt's record. He's going to break the 700 home runs, and then he's going to go after Barry Bonds. That's what he's going to do. He's going to go after all of them.
That would be
He
tough.
might hit. He might hit 800 home runs.
Let's focus. Well,
If
let's
he
look
can
for.
get hot,
I think
if he can
600
stay
is more
healthy and
achievable.
get hot, I think he's better than 600, John. I really do. I think if he can stay healthy these next couple years and put up the stats, win a World Series, that's the biggest thing that's on his mind right now is to win a World Series because he left Washington and when he came and signed here, and I remember the Phillies were I heard a lot of things
You're
during that
convulsing again,
year
Herb. Calm
that
down.
he was coming here. He was coming here to sign. He was going to be here, and then when he signed, and we got him, and they won the World Series. So now
All right.
he could have stayed in Washington. He wanted more money, and they didn't. They offered him 300, and he wanted
It
more.
has been
And so
among the best signings that's ever been in the city, and he is
absolutely,
so. Herb, here's the deal: because he wants more money, and the owner already said he's underpaid. Book it. They want to keep him happy.
yeah.
They're gonna sign him to an extension.
Do it, I
And
don't have no problem if they want to give him the kind of money that basically that Mike Trout's getting to make it look like it's an even deal. Keep him till he's 45, whatever. He can manage a team the last couple years if he wants. He could be
like Pete
player
Rose.
coach. He
Yeah,
could
like
be
Pete
a
Rose.
player manager if he wants.
All right, Herb. Listen,
What I
I
mean?
want you to get your rest. What do you got going on the rest of the week? You working?
I'm
What's your
working.
schedule look
Yeah,
like?
I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm working. We got the Italian singer tomorrow, and then we got Sixers, a couple games, and the Flyers.
Yeah,
Fly with
Herbie.
the Flyers.
SD wants to know the youngest that you would date, but I've already asked you that on the air, and you
I've
said
been out with
19.
20. I like 20-year-old girls. Yeah, 19, 20.
Come
As
on,
long as
Herb.
they want to go
What
out.
do you have to
know?
offer a 20-year-old?
Well, he didn't say that that's going to happen, but he would if a 19-year-old that was hot
Same
came up
thing
to him.
you got. Same thing you got to offer.
I got nothing to offer a 20-year-old. I promise you that, Herb. I got
You
nothing.
want me to get crazy with you? You know.
No.
I don't want to use the word 6'9", do you, or what?
Oh, see, Steve, that's the problem. Is when I asked him this
want to
before,
blast.
people were like, "Oh, I don't want to think about Herb being like that." No, I would much rather have you banging an 80-year-old, Herb.
I just want to know how you plan on pulling a 20-year-old.
You ever watch that show, 12 o'clock ESPN? What's his name? The dude that used to be the kicker for the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, you
Matt
McAfee, the
McAfee.
punter. Yeah, I watch McAfee, sure.
Yeah, the punt. Yeah,
You
ever
like
watch
that
his
show?
He's a wild man, He be cursing on there a lot, and they got a thing on there before he gets on. to let the people know that he curses and all.
Nothing has to do with anything. It's like Brian Johnson's play calling. One play doesn't have to do with another. It's just more plays that are being called.
Yeah,
But,
Brian.
so Herb, listen, rest up. We got to get. I want to do a live event coming up here in a couple of weeks, and we got to get you out there, right? We need you to have a signing autographs and stuff.
Yeah, we got to get Herb from the Northeast. I'm working on the book, and it's right now. I'm like around when I played ball at CCP, and I made this great play at the plate. And
now, do you have an old-fashioned typewriter? Are you writing this, or is it you on a computer?
No, I'm writing everything by hand, and then I got this. I got this guy, this book guy. I got his phone in my phone, his number, and when I'm ready, I'll call him. But
we'll keep working.
There's a company in California that reached out to me, and I told the girl, call me in a couple months. But yeah, you told your wife about the T-shirts, right?
Yep. Yeah. So would anybody out there be interested in a Herb from the Northeast T-shirt? Anyone?
Yeah, free T-shirt when you buy the book, right?
I mean, hey, listen, if you get a book published, I'll make 100 T-shirts for you to give out with the book. Easy.
Sell the book for $24.95 and get a free T-shirt. Green and white, or green and white, or white and green, or something, or what?
Herb, we were just trying to figure out what the T-shirt would be, because I think I have the right picture of you.
I told you what it's going to be.
Well, but what should
Herb from the Northeast.
But I'm looking for this. Like, you know what I'm talking about, Steve? He doesn't understand what I'm saying. Like, what's the T-shirt? Is it Herb with an OK underneath it? Like, what do we do? Is it just a picture of Herb?
We're going to make it Herb from the Northeast, and then if you want me to put my picture in there, fine. But we don't really need that. We're going to have the Eagles logo, the Phillies logo.
You can't use trademark logos in your book, Herb. I mean, I know.
What about an eagle with like a pelican gullet?
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out, bro.
We'll figure it out. We'll get the details going. All right, Herb, get some rest, buddy. All right.
You got it, bro. God bless.
Man. All right, God bless you.
I like you got a piano back there on the left side of this picture, all right?
I was actually last night's show. I was playing. Steve was doing the heavy lifting, and I was back there dressed like Liberace. So not gay though. Not gay. I was heterosexual Liberace. All right, buddy. Get some rest.
All right, Herb.
All right, there he is, Herb. But you know what I mean with the T-shirt, because as many people that watch this on a regular basis probably know, the show is sponsored by ShopEveryLittleDetail.com for custom-made shirts of all types. My wife has the, for the most part, she can do everything upstairs, but we can take an image and make it a DTF, and then we can send it out. I like the idea of doing Herb in a cartoon character, but what do you put underneath it?
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, dude, that whole time I'm like, he's Dory from Finding Nemo.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, you don't know what Dory? Oh,
I was Finding Nemo. I was probably in my 20s, and taking bonkers.
It's just like a short-term memory loss thing. That's all it was the whole time. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I'm thinking of like a pelican with Herb's face on it. I'm thinking of him as a fish with short-term memory loss. I'm thinking of all these things. That's where I was going.
All right. We got to pick. Cause my wife. I asked my wife. She's like, "Yeah, well, send me a picture." And then it's like, "All right, well, do we want to put that picture, or do we want to do like a?" Because here's what she did with me. I actually came up with a couple logos. So I'm trying to do the overlay for the page. That was taking forever, but she uses for a lot of different stuff. She subscribes to like, it's not Chat GPT or whatever, but she uses an AI site.
Yep.
So you just type in 40s white guy, zip up beard, dark hair, and it gets this AI character that looks like me. You know what I mean? Then they give you a lot of options. So it's like, yeah, that looks like me, like spiky hair, kind of salt and pepper, not kind of salt and pepper, but
more salt.
Yeah, more salt, especially down here. But yeah, so you have that. So if you could get Herb's picture and then AI it to make it look.
Or what's the cartoon drawing things? You would get like at like a carnival or something.
Right, at the shore.
Oh, the characters.
Yeah.
I could only imagine what a character version of her would look like.
Yeah. Yeah, you can actually totally see it right now. All right. Well, I mean, Shane actually brings up a good point. What does OG have to say about Carton? Well, I mean, I'll tell you what OG has to say. Actually, you know what? Check that. OG believes that AJ Brown's a problem. OG,
He told us that last week.
Yeah, he said it. He wants to trade AJ Brown. So
He said he would eat
probably
the
what he's
40
gonna say.
million dead salary cap to get rid of him.
Yep. God. Yeah, it's so I mean, everybody see, I'm just going to say this, all right? And then we're going to move on to talking about diaper spas. That I remember a similar thing, and I was people were really fucking mad at me when I not that I turned on Carson Wentz, because like I'm not trying, like I want the Eagles to win, so like I hate doing the where it's like I'm the anti-Wentz guy and I'm the pro-Wentz guy or whatever, but I saw something wrong with Carson Wentz, and I remember that the Tennessee game, I guess it's 2019. Whatever year it was, I just remember the Tennessee game that they blew, and he had so many opportunities, and it was like the last game where I was like, this guy sucks. Like he's not making a difference this year. And you kept waiting for him to get back to that form that you saw in 2017, and he just wasn't doing it. And then you heard about the off the field stuff, the connection in the locker room or whatever. And a lot of you people out there watching right now buried your head in the sand and said Joe Santoliquido's an asshole and he's making stuff up, or Gilio, or whoever that was on the anti-Carson Wentz camp, right? But don't bury your head in the sand with this, because this isn't just totally made up and nothing. Trust me, there's enough people that are around the situation in the team that have heard the same things. I don't know the details. This is what I've heard. And didn't really seem to matter when they were winning games. But when they started losing games, you're like, man, something's off about this. So, yeah.
I mean, I know it's cliched. It's like when there's smoke, there's fire. And at this point, there's way too much talk about it.
There's no way that this is total bullshit. And I didn't know that Hugh said that there's something there. There's something there that's
it could be this, it could be huge. It could be anywhere in between. But there's something there.
And if this involves AJ Brown, and again, without knowing the details, I'm not afraid to move on from AJ Brown, because you're not moving on from Jalen Hurts. And AJ Brown's a great player. But if this is something that's going to cause this going forward, you can't have a team where players don't like each other. The wide receiver and the quarterback don't like each other. Whatever the sides are, you can't have that. Sorry, you can't have that and be successful. But anyway, Steve, do you remember what Aaron Rodgers did? Was it last offseason or this? Last offseason. Retreat. So he did the darkness retreat last year, right?
Yep.
Where he went and he more or less like sat in this like little hut with what did it have, and it was like no light, and it had 2 rooms, and they give you your meal through, it's like you're in prison. There's a slot and they put the meal in there, and you're just supposed to sit in there and reflect on your life, right? Seems like a lot of fun. Would you do that? Would you be interested in that for a day or two?
I might be able to survive a day. I think I would lose my mind after more than that.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. The year before,
he was probably stoned for half the time on the ayahuasca. So
yeah, he's on some kind of hallucinogen. The year before, he went to, was it in India? But whatever he went to, it's forced vomiting. You stick hot ghee in your nose, and you do all this other stuff. Like seriously, if you Google it and you see what it is that he went to, it's literally like you're forced vomiting. You're trying to cleanse yourself of all the toxins, but like you're only eating like beans and rice, and you're putting ghee in your nose. So he did this a couple years ago.
12-day pan. Yes. You know me with reading and spelling. I don't know any idea how to say that. Panchakarma.
Well, that's what it is.
Karma?
Yeah, it's like India. It's India. You're supposed to do it in India. And you're sitting in there. It's like Jay Peterman in the Seinfeld episode where he's in the hut and he's just sweating, and he's like, oh, that's what he was doing, right? So I've heard of some crazy things, but this might take the cake. So I saw this story last week or like maybe 2 weeks ago, and there's an update. So what video do we have here? So just I'll set the stage for you. There's this town in New Hampshire where this doctor was trying to open up a diaper spa. Yes, and you may ask what a diaper spa is, and it's a very good question. And this was out of her home. So if you watch the video to the news story, which we're going to play in a second, I think it's the one that has it. She's got like, especially in New England, this is easily $1 million home that she lives in based on the footage. Steve, would you agree with that? It's a nice. Yeah, it's not a huge mansion, but it's a big home, right?
I would gladly trade with her. How about that?
Me too. So the diaper spa is open to all diaper-wearing individuals who seek acceptance, respite, and care. Photos on the spa page show a space decorated with the soft comforts of a nursery, complete with toys, folded diapers, and an adult-sized crib. Dr. Colleen Ann Murphy, the spa's owner, offers a range of services that includes virtual play dates at $200 an hour, a $1,500 all-day diaper B&B experience that promises rejuvenating pampering for all the little one inside of you. So while we'll sit here and laugh about it, she actually says that it's for people that are having problems, obviously. So she said she worked in a high-stress hospital setting, and it led to burnout and fatigue. And then she started focusing on, how can I help people that are overlooked, including adult baby diaper lovers, or as they call them in the business, Steve, ABDLs. Because there is people out there that like to be adult babies and wear the diapers. So she said, this led me to find a community of people who have varied needs to wear diapers, whether they're physically or emotionally, such as vets wounded in combat with incontinence, people with progressive and musculoskeletal conditions, and victims of trauma and abuse. The void of care was there, and I thought a meaningful way to fill it. Adult baby diaper lovers are people who act a voluntary regression to a previous age and or wear a diaper for psychological reasons, according to the article. So there you go. And a lot of these people were abused as children or other things like that. Dude, I don't know. But here, so Steve, play it. Here is the, so she was trying to get like a permit or something to be able to open up this business in her house. And what do you think the people in town had to say about a diaper spa going up in their town? Probably not happy about it.
I was going to say, they're probably not going to like it.
All right, well, here it is.
Here it is.
This town hall was just filled with people for hours tonight. There was even an overflow area in the lobby for this meeting. The zoning board here in Atkinson ultimately denying Colleen Murphy the ability to run her diaper spa out of her home on 23 Pope Road. Members of the town zoning board saying there were too many inconsistencies with her application and the business itself. Her website says it's the first facility of its kind, providing one-on-one care, personalized texting services, and activities meant to encourage childlike self-expression. But community members raising safety concerns tonight about having the business in their neighborhood, referencing parks, playgrounds, and an increase in traffic since word about it got out. Others expressing their fear that
Hold on. Increased in traffic? Why? Because people are driving back and forth in front of a house? Like, is that really a good reason?
Come on.
I just think it's people that are like, huh? What house is this? I don't know if you would have an increase in traffic. I mean, let's go.
Property values will decrease and their distrust in Murphy as a medical professional. She told the board here, people in this community just don't understand what the spa is.
There were things that are being misunderstood or misconstrued or misinterpreted.
Why do you think that is?
I think because they are not the audience for these types of services.
Everybody is talking about this, and it's not.
You think that woman has? She looks like she's wearing a diaper right now. This woman.
Not good. We don't want that kind of talk about Atkinson.
And we watched community members leaving that packed room at the town hall, applauding the zoning board's decision, with some of them on their way out telling us they were relieved. We're live in Atkinson tonight. Imani Fleming, WM.
All right, well, there you go. I actually feel kind of bad for her. Even though this seems very bizarre to most people.
Why couldn't she just open a business in like an actual like location instead of her house?
Well, you know what I would have done?
Thriving of a business.
I would have zoning board this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to have people come over and put their diapers on.
Well, I was going to say, until you have, like, it turns into looking like you're having sex parties at your house.
Right. Well, I guess it depends on how much business they do.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I think they were thinking about the traffic. They thought it was going to be a booming success.
So to your point, if it was that busy, why not just get a retail space? Well, because these people don't want to go to a retail space and feel like that they're going, like to a retail space. They want to feel like they're going to some home. So you need to get a more remote location. Yeah, but if you're making that much money, you could easily rent a house in a better location that's wooded where no one sees what you're doing.
Acres of land. You could set up activities and adventures in your.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Now my house is only 2,400 square feet, not including the basement. In the basement, if I got the kid stuff out of here, I might be able to get a makeshift, maybe not a diaper spa, but a diaper adult daycare where I could just have them down here in diapers, crawling around for a couple hours a day. I need money after all.
I'm thinking the lady with the pink hair was worried that people were going to find out that she was one of these people, so that's why she didn't want them on her street.
I suppose. Well, listen, if you want to know more about it, or I invite you not to do it though. ABDL, the Adult Baby Diaper Legion, or whatever it was the L stand for. I don't know. Yeah, I've heard about these.
To Google it.
I've heard about it. Actually, have the website's very nice too. Services, you ready? A discovery calls for free. You want to connect for 30 minutes to discuss your specific needs and questions regarding the diaper spa and services. Virtual play date, 1 hour. Experience personalized care and interactive sessions from the comfort of your own home. See that? You don't even need to go to the house. Just do it right here. I mean, look what we're doing right here. Trying to see if we can get a. Yeah, I just want to see the prices. Yeah, see, they don't offer a lot of. There's a lot of just online interaction for consultations, but there's no what we're reading. And I was reading the article here, $1,500 for an all day diaper extravaganza. All right. Well, there you go, Steve. Tomorrow you will have you'll have a microphone right in front of you.
So excited.
People are asking for your IG.
I think he said he was going to send me an overlay or something for you.
No, really? Clark,
sure.
the bear. No, I mean, I do have one. It's just that I work it's difficult because the technology part of it I'm not great with, and my wife's doing it, but she's also doing a lot of other things. So by the time I get done here at 10 o'clock, then it's like she's kind of ready to go to sleep or whatever. So, yeah. So Herb, listen, we'll try to hook Herb up with the date. Might be tough, but I mean, I'd be willing to try to hook it up. We could have her on here, and we could play the dating game.
Oh God! No, I'm just thinking of older people in diapers and us hooking Herb up.
Yeah, Herb could actually be in both. Yeah, he put him in a diaper and send him on a date.
Multi-purpose Herb.
All right, well there you go, everybody. Guess we'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Remember, subscribe. It's at John Marks Media. You can see it right there. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube. All right, at John Marks Media, and comment on what you think if you're watching this. Comment with everything, and also email me with whatever you want to talk about. Say hi. It's johnmarksmedia at gmail.com. johnmarksmedia at gmail.com. All right, Delco Steve, we'll see you tomorrow with a real microphone, and we'll feel official.
Let's go.
All right, later.
Peace.